How is everybody doing? How is everybody doing? This afternoon, the time is 12:44 Eastern Time, and the meeting, or the public meeting that is, between the South African president and the US president has just concluded, and I just want to respond to that. I want to respond to that, yeah. So, sure, where do I begin? I must say, though, that this meeting, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would with regards to how things went with Vladimir Zelensky. So I was expecting something worse here, as well, something along those lines, but it wasn't as bad as that. But with that said, I must say that I feel an incredible amount of sadness. Sorry, not exactly in the center. Amount of sadness because of what I saw there. President Trump. I mean, I can't say exactly that he is 100% unpersuadable, but I can see that President Trump can be persuaded based on the facts. But what I see is that his team, though, on the other hand, is less likely to be persuadable. And I'm not sure how influential his team is to him, and how much of it is what ends up being official policy is actually just his convictions. But President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa brought a team of people which included the Minister of Agriculture, John Steenhuisen, who is obviously, as the name suggests, is a white man. I'm understanding that he's an Englishman. But he also brought three other South Africans. Actually, he brought more, three other white South Africans, because the foreign minister is a black man. Then he brought Annie Els, who is a renowned international golf player and is also a close friend to Donald Trump because, obviously, of golf. And then he also brought Johan Rupert, who is one of the richest South Africans. And as the name suggests, he is a white Afrikaner South African who is based in Stellenbosch. And if you know anything about South Africa, Stellenbosch is well known to be the capital of monopoly capital, if I want to call it that way. That's mostly where this rich white Afrikaner kids and old white money is mostly based at. And I was impressed by Johan Rupert, who debunked and refuted this notion that white South Africans are being persecuted on account of race, and he gave the president of the United States a true account that what's actually happening back home is crime just across the board. It's not just white South Africans, and it's actually, with regards to Johan Rupert in particular, it's quite telling because no one has endured as much abuse from the left in South Africa, especially leftist black South Africans, as Johan Rupert. He's been the poster boy of what is wrong with South Africa, and associating it with the color of his skin and all of that. And they've really been abusing him for the past few years. So none of us would have thought that someone like him would go to the world Go to any of these capitals in the world, let alone Washington D.C., and defend South Africa so empathically. And so that was actually quite refreshing, and quite encouraging, and I was actually encouraged that the president brought three white men with him. And the reason being that this is a race issue, so it's very important that you bring white people with you. But from what I've seen is that I don't see that the United States policy on this is going to change anytime soon. But I'm very happy based on how the people who were representing us represented us in Washington. I need to visit Washington soon myself. I don't really like DC that much, but you need to go to DC if you want to influence people, like talk to people who matter, talk to people who influence policy, talk to people who actually have the power to make a difference for a lot of people. Yeah, so which is why I would like to visit DC myself soon. Anyways, this one. But I was actually very encouraged also by the words that were said by Annie else. Just talking about his childhood in South Africa, talking about the circumstances of what's happening in South Africa, the level of poverty, the level of crime, how these crime levels cut across racial lines, and how it is just so dangerous. How they were just everyone in their team was reinforcing this idea that the challenge in South Africa is out of control crime. Not that they are condoning it, but saying that the crime is out of control. It is bad. That we need actually help with a growing economy if there's going to be any change with this issue of out of control crime. Not that there's anyone who's being targeted, because no one is being targeted. That's just not true. That's not the case. That's a total falsehood and fabrication. And I'm glad that those people represented us so well. And I'm also glad also because President Cyril Ramaphosa brought a labor representative, a unionist, who was very conciliatory in their message. They were not antagonistic in terms of antagonizing business, because you know how like trade unions sometimes they can be antagonistic when it comes to business and free market capital. But she wasn't like that. She seemed to be very collaborative and conciliatory, and she seemed to be of the view that we need economic growth. And every one of them who were there, they were presenting the same accurate picture that South Africa is a country that is struggling either out of control crime. It's not a country where people are being targeted on the basis of race. Yeah, so I was very encouraged by that. But with that being said, I don't know what to think, man. I don't know what to think. I don't know when I say I don't know what to think, meaning that I don't know what to think with regards to what the American response would be to this, because I could already see by the comments of the Vice President J.D. Vance that there are some people on the side, not the President Donald Trump, who are so unmoved on this notion that South Africa is this unrepentantly racist country that is persecuting white people, that it makes it actually incredibly difficult to engage with people like that. And I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people who are in the President Trump's ear, busy repeating these falsehoods to him. But with that said, I'm glad that President Ramaphosa did not antagonize his host. He wasn't like Vladimir Zelensky, even though President Trump was repeating things that are not true, like that farmers are having their land taken from them. President Ramaphosa was very mature in his approach in terms of knowing who you are and knowing where you are, and not necessarily antagonize your host without a proper predicate and a proper justification. And so, and with that said, I think I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic. But the people who've been lying about South Africa has caused us so much damage across the world. it's actually quite incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah, cool. But folks, those are my unorganized thoughts. I'm gonna probably put more videos on reacting to that meeting. But just let me know in the comments below in terms of what you think about what you thought about the meeting. Did you watch the meeting? Maybe go and watch it. It's on the White House website. And if you are in South Africa, as probably 40% of my viewers are South African, for like 30% of my viewers are American. If you are in South Africa, go to SABC. It's on the SABC YouTube channel, and you should be able to find it there. Till next time. Sure. Cheers, folks.